your hand makes me tremble within. Love the smell of your hair.
Man, feeling well, man.
What's your name?
My name is Cardi Cornish.
And you a legend?
I'm a legend.
You're a legend here in Baltimore City. Where we at right now?
We live in the 17, Pennsylvania Avenue. The legendary Pennsylvania Avenue.
Man, the last time I saw you here, you were doing something just across the street here. What were you doing?
Oh yeah, I had some food left over from an event. We brung it out and fed a couple of people, man.
Why you do that?
Nice soul food.
Why you do that?
Man, the love that God has shown me in Christ, man, it overflows. That's how it overflows.
That's right.
We got more than we can use.
Already was high within San Antonio, Winchester community, but the age group is getting younger. Children under the age of 18 being murdered in San Antonio has a high peak right now. So our goal is to catch the children.
You going hard, man. You going hard on that man today.
So what do you think, Mr. Mayor? You got manufacturing right here, helping our young people despite all of the challenges in the city of Baltimore, right here on North Avenue.
No, it's really about the growth. Just knowing where, being there when they were down in Fort Covington and seeing how far it's grown. Like you said earlier, like getting the sorbet, you know, where we got the sorbet at the beginning, but now being able to, when I'm at Cannon Yards, get it, or anytime I'm down at Harbor Place to get it, and folks to not even know, but they gonna know now that like this is coming from young people in West Baltimore, right there in West Baltimore on North Avenue, where they think nothing great comes from, but they can see it in what the young people do.
It's the things that you do.
Here on the bank of Mississippi, with our very dear friend Floyd Mathis. A beautiful town, just leaving Algiers, which is an update 10 years since Katrina.
It's a smile on your face. And as time goes by, I know I'm in a better place. I'm in a better place.
All right, y'all, this is what I came to New York for. Besides the Black Wall Street Awards, we're going in here and get some of this real good jerk chicken. Johnny Glover, out.
Your skin, just the touch of your hand makes me tremble within.
But we need to feed our loved ones. DOTS needs to rescind this package policy program so that our loved ones are able to eat every day in that filthy facility that
we have some stars in the building.
First name's Donnie, last name's Glover. In it to win it for the long haul, baby. Let me just say a very special thank you to Mr. Ven McCormick for making this show possible. The show is about mental health. If I think better, I can do better. And I think, quite honestly, everybody has, just like we have to work on our push-ups and jumping jacks and walking and or running or swimming, we also have to make sure we take care of this thing right here. This is essential. Without it, on that note, this month, September, is National Suicide Prevention Month. And today is actually my dad's birthday. So happy heavenly birthday to my dad. We have a very special guest today. Followers of my show know that I often speak about mass incarceration. America represents 5% of the world's population, yet we have 25%. 25% of the world's incarcerated people. 40%, nearly 40% of them are Black men. Black women are the fastest growing demographic. The irony is that Black people only make up 13% of this country's population. So this is something that goes all the way back to slavery. Be that as it may, there are people out here who are superheroes. They don't care what your background is. even though some people have done some egregious things, they care about helping people who want help, people who want employment. And one such champion is my dear friend, Lisa Pierce. Hey!
Hello, Donnie. Thank you so much for inviting me.
No, thank you for helping me out. We had a lady who was supposed to be here, but she was actually dealing with 2 suicides.
Wow. Wow. God bless
2, not
her
1, but 2.
for standing in the gap. God bless her for,
Natasha Pierre, down in Florida. She'll be back on Wednesday, but I knew something was wrong because she's always on point. And when she didn't get back, that's when I called you. But she finally called me and explained what I kind of knew. I knew something was wrong, and she was dealing with 2 people who had, taken their own lives. Any thoughts on that? Suicide prevention? I mean, we've been in some dark places during our journeys.
So I love that you led the segment with talking about mental health. And mental health is one of the most underfunded sectors of healthcare. And so from a perspective of improving individuals' mental health would also address what leads people, to even consider suicide. I contemplated suicide before, and but I went and got help for my mental health. People who sink to a level to consider taking their own life, somewhere in their life, the house was already on fire, because of some kind of trauma, because of some kind of lack, and so strengthening mental health accessibility and quality mental health, services will address individuals that feel, so compelled that they're not worthy to continue living.
When I was at Dunbar, I had an internship at the Walter P. Carter Center. Walter P. Carter was Joe Carter's father. And I remember some of the files I read. Mental health can touch anybody. Some of the files, some of the people were PhDs.
Oh, absolutely.
Attorneys, judges, doctors. No one is immune.
No. Mm-mm. And so it starts with your wellness, and how well you feel about yourself depends on, what you are dealing with day to day. All of us can have a good day, we can have a bad day, but our overall wellness, can you be well when things aren't going right at your job? Can you be well when your children are having challenges in school? And so
Acting a plum fool.
it happens. I remember when my oldest son was younger, he thought it was a good idea to play football on the school bus. And so the school suspended him from riding the bus. And so living in the county at that time where the kids, they used the school bus. There was no public transportation. And I just remember, just being overwhelmed with anxiety and fear because I had a job that I only really had 45 minutes to get to after the kids were off to school. So now I have to figure out how to get him to school and get to work on time. So once again, we get in a place where we have these torpedoes thrown at us, right? And so, he's 11 years old at that time. What am I going to do? Can't get rid of him, right? Gotta, I have to adjust. And I remember back then how I had to constantly find a way to stay well.
Relationships. Love.
Yes.
I heard a story just this week of a war veteran
Hmm.
who was in a relationship and he took his own life. The relationship
Wow.
wasn't going well and he took his own life.
Well, one of the things I volunteer at the women's prison, and before I even teach my students career readiness, I teach them how to love themselves, because when you love yourself, you are not necessarily very strategic about who else you love, but you're very mindful that you love yourself enough that you understand that you are a person, and that you manage your expectations better when you love yourself. And so to put the onus of your own happiness on another person, it's not realistic, but it's also not fair to that person. Not everybody knows how to love, and not everybody knows how to receive love. And so I'm foolish enough, I think that you can love through anything, right? I really, you know, ascribe to not only self love, but agape love, and always making sure that you are loved wherever you are.
I have a friend from junior high school. He says he goes where he is celebrated, not
Yes.
tolerated.
Yep. Yep. Because it's something that we all deserve. No one is better than anyone. Everybody is deserving of what God gave us all, which is love.
But we live in a world where increasingly, we live in a country, we live in a culture where increasingly there's that entitlement mentality.
So entitlement is a seed that, you know, once it's planted, it'll start to grow. If you know it, it'll grow just like weeds grow. But one of the things that people who keep their lawns really nice, they know how to pull those weeds up, right? So when you're a baby, obviously you are a receiver. Somebody has to feed you, take care of you, be responsible for you 24/7. But the purpose of chores, the purpose of, you know, teaching a 10-year-old, yes, you'll get your allowance once you cut the grass. That's that weed pulling. That's that.
She's having some challenges with the with her device. But we're talking about mental health on this show. If I think better, I do better, whether it's relationships, whether it's the job, whether it's dealing with the neighbors. Uh, I mentioned the soldiers who are returning from war. Everybody has some type of challenge. So be kind. I often say that kindness costs nothing. There's a saying, givers have to set limits because takers rarely do. How you like that? Givers have to set limits because
Yes.
takers rarely do.
Yep.
We were talking about entitlement.
Hmm. So, like I was saying, so entitlement is a seed, but entitlement is not a seed of a blossoming rose or a blossoming tulip. If you don't manage the seed of entitlement, it'll grow into a problematic weed, right? People who do lawn care, they pull weeds. And so if you don't ascribe to something like that with your kids, that's the whole purpose of chores. If your child is 10 years old, yes, you'll get an allowance as long as you keep your room clean. You take the trash out. Take the trash out. You
Wash the dishes.
right. And so that's where I know that was a deficit for me. I didn't do that early enough for my children. And so that entitlement turned into a problematic weed, right? That I had to constantly try to managed, and when it should have been pulled out a long time ago.
You know, Lisa, I watch comedians from time to time. I think it was Lavelle. Lavelle talked about his little white friend and how he was over his little white friend's house, and his little white friend G checked his mother.
Wow.
And Lavelle and he told Lavelle, you have to stand up for yourself. You are a person too. So Lavelle went home and tried it with his mother and got his hind parts whipped. I'm watching this show now about the Navy SEALs. It's an ongoing series. And the star of the show, the star Navy SEAL, his wife just died.
Oh, wow.
That's where I'm at in the show. But the daughter, and I guess she's about 16, she talks to the father like they are equals.
Wow.
My mother would have smacked taste out of her mouth.
Right. Well,
and I guess the lesson is you don't have to put your hands on anybody. That we should have evolved. My mother would have smacked taste out of her mouth.
Right. So
I don't know if it's right or wrong. I'm just telling you what my mother would have done. She'd have smacked taste out of her mouth.
So, sometimes those kind of situations are a result of culture, right? Some individuals look at that like, oh, he or she is expressing himself. And so, but like you said, in our households, no, that, you stay in, as they say, a child's place, but I will give you some pushback on this part. At some point, you do have to let your children express themselves, but they have to be taught how to do it respectfully. And I'll give you an example. So, one of the best things I did was I went to counseling. And I remember as my daughter was becoming a teenager, my counselor told me, let her talk to you. Let her express herself to you. She's not sassing you. Just, because one of the things that was so accurate about that is you don't want a child to shut up permanently. And the reason why is because there are things that your child need to share with you. But if because I grew up in that house, stay in a child's place, don't talk until you're spoken to. But also what gets shut down, a lot of secrets, a lot of trauma. And so when she got a certain age, I did let her talk. And it wasn't sassy. She was expressing herself to me. So I think
This little girl in this show was sassing her father. He out there busting his butt, saving the world, fighting around the world, and she's making these demands. Because here's my thing. If you go to school and do what you're supposed to do, bring home A's, I'm giving you a roof over your head, putting clothes on your back, feeding you, putting money in your pocket. Your job is to go out. You have a job too. I knew my job. My job was to bring home A's. Ain't nobody had to tell me. I bet when you went to University of Baltimore, you were thinking of nothing but A's.
Oh, yes. Yes.
See, but now we got this low expectation thing. 60 is passing.
Yeah, everybody gets a trophy. And what it does is it gives individuals unrealistic expectations.
Ain't nobody gonna hire you with no 60.
No, and they're not going to let you in. I have a grandson. I'm really blessed. He's 14, and he's been in the gifted and talented. He started school in the gifted and talented program, and now he's in high school. He's in 9th grade, and my colleague at Princeton sent me some information how to get him prepared, what he should be doing, while he's in high school, because 9th grade is when the colleges start looking at you. But I'm so grateful to his mom and to my daughter, who is his auntie, because he's been on the honor roll every year that he's been in school, you know.
That's what I'm
And
talking about.
so Princeton, th- in one of the components he told me, he said he has to bring something to the table and he has to be able to show through evidence he can handle the work. And so, my
That's what
grandson,
I'm talking about.
yeah. And so, but I guarantee you, there's some parents out here with children with C's and D's and F's that think that their child should be in Princeton. No, it don't work like that.
It
You
don't.
cannot, you cannot have a champagne existence with a beer effort. My grandson is going to have a stellar academic career because he did the work. He did the homework. He did the assignments. He He's been in some wonderful rites of passage programs. He showed up. And so a lot of people don't understand when people get what they really worked for. And
You know,
so,
I think, Lisa, about people who died to come to this country.
I
We
mean,
are right here. We have a world of opportunity out there. There's a world of opportunity out there.
well, not even in the
But we
world,
want to,
even,
we
even,
want to,
even, even the city, our city.
yes, but we
What,
want to stand on the corner and make excuses. Let me tell you this, Lisa. I saw a cat driving one-handed, popping a wheelie, driving through traffic up the avenue. But you gonna tell me he don't have the wherewithal to go to college? Now I'm not saying everybody can go to college, but
right.
Slim, you applied yourself to that situation.
Yes.
I know damn well you can apply yourself to a college classroom. And let me just add this in there. When they go to jail, they got to go to class.
Yep.
So
It's a,
don't tell me what you can't do.
my husband always says it's better to do something on your own before you are mandated to do it.
Yeah, like GED. GED, that's a damn hard test.
Yes.
You could have just did it when you were there, but no, you want to be slick. I don't know if you know Jimmy Britton. You'd have been to a lot of events.
Oh
Jimmy
yeah,
Britton.
I know Jimmy Britton.
Jimmy Britton say the slickest thing you can ever do is stop being slick.
Oh yes, absolutely. Well, it's interesting because I teach on this, and I teach from the aspect, expand your audience. If you are surrounded by people that laugh at your shenanigans, co-sign your shenanigans, they think it's cute when you say you're gonna pull up and all that kind of nonsense, you are in the wrong audience. That's not an audience that is designed and set up to help you to do better.
I heard this today. Not everybody is going where you're going.
Yep, yep,
So we need the spirit of discernment of who we should be associating with and who we should not be associating with.
yes. The great coach John Thompson, when he was recruiting Allen Iverson, you know, he
I
was one
love
of,
John Tom.
oh, me too. And he, saw what we all later discovered about Allen Iverson. But he was the one that told him, you cannot take all these people with you. You will never succeed. You will never succeed. And so I teach my students, you should never need a whole bunch of people around you in order for you to feel significant. You should be significant wherever you are by yourself. And that's where that self love comes in.
That's beautiful. How have you been, Lisa?
So I've been wonderful. I launched a program called the 551 Project, and it's actually installed inside the women's prison. And so I picked 5 areas of the state, Baltimore City, and then 4 counties from around the state. And I worked with 5 individuals from the area that are currently incarcerated at the women's prison. And so I work with them the last 5 months of their sentence, so they can be ready on day one. So it's 5 individuals, the last 5 months of their sentence, so they can be ready on day one. And the partners that I have that are supporting this has just been phenomenal. The MTA, for example, the MTA has donated 30-day digital bus passes for when they get out, they can get to work. The United Way has donated, their wonderful CEO has given me access to their outreach team because the first 30 days of being released out of prison are the hardest. You really realize that the family you left when you became incarcerated was already struggling before you left. And so now, with this program, my objective is for the students to leave prison with an offer, with a job offer, and with an acceptance into a program so that they can be better received once they come back into the fold. And I tell my students, don't return to the community as another mouth to feed, a strain on the utilities, the food. No, people understand that you have to get back on your feet. At least come home with a viable plan. And so I'm really excited about that.
With Donald Trump having 34 felonies, will that make it easier for formerly incarcerated persons?
So the answer to that is twofold. It's no, not because of him, but what's changing the ecosystem of formerly incarcerated individuals is that they are outperforming their counterparts who have never been to prison. The president of how a hospital system told me their formerly incarcerated workers outperform workers that have never gotten a parking ticket. And it's only because they're coming from a place of lack, they're coming from a place of they just want a second chance. And so their motivation is different. Giant Foods, for example, their fulfillment center, I'm really excited about this. They are wonderful. They widely and frequently support, formerly incarcerated individuals. As a matter of fact, their facility is a work release facility. Now, where I come in, I take that person that's doing forklifting and I add a in-demand, high-earning certificate with that so they can get into the six-figure club.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to take me back. We've talked about mental health, we've talked about suicide prevention, the raising of young people, the entitlement of Americans. What do people go through mentally by being incarcerated? What goes through the mind?
So let's look at the trauma first. The trauma of being removed from everything that's normal to you, right? For incarcerated moms, it's even worse because you are usually removed from children who you are already attached to, joined at the hip, right? So the first flag for formerly incarcerated individuals is a sense of loss. You've lost your freedom. You've lost what is normal to you. The second thing that happens is that now you are surrounded by people who have also participated in maladaptive behavior. And so now,
What's that?
so you now have to coexist with people who have their own challenges of integrity and honesty and violence and treatment, right? And so you have to know how to navigate that. And that's why one of the things that, you know, that I understand is that, and I tell my students, yes, you need a job when you leave, but you need counseling first. You have to get counseling to work out and tease out that trauma because,
Debriefing almost like a soldier coming out of a
sure,
battle.
sure, there's no demographic that experiences PTSD more than formerly incarcerated individuals
I would
because
guess other than soldiers.
other
But
than soldiers, yes. I mean, soldiers and formerly incarcerated individuals suffer PTSD, on a significant level. And, the danger is when individuals are released, they still got children to raise. They still have a job that they have to go to follow rules and follow regulations. And they still have to produce and perform. And, and the reason why the first 30 days are so mission critical is because in that first 30 days, if you are not supported, if you don't have a plan, you are going to revert back to the same behavior that caused your incarceration originally.
is it difficult for formerly incarcerated persons to have a relationship?
So it depends.
That's what I think. It depends.
And the reason it depends on how did you manage relationships before you went to prison, right?
Whoa!
Were you manipulative before you became incarcerated? Were you entitled? Did you have integrity issues already? So remember, you are a whole person before you go to prison. You're just a whole person with additional baggage when you leave. So whoever you were when before you became incarcerated, and that's why emotional management and anger management is so important because you can have 10 degrees, but if you are hard to get along with, if you feel that it's your way or the highway, you're going to be a person with 10 degrees and no success behind it. And so managing relationships really is predicated on what kind of person were you before you became incarcerated. Incarceration is either going to enhance that or it's going to deplete it.
I was told that a person's growth and development stops when they go to prison.
Well, that's true because when you go to prison, you stop growing. You're now in survival mode. You're not growing. Now, people who take advantage of the mental health counseling there, the peer mediation resources there, you can get to a place where you do grow, you know, but your growth is disrupted because now, you know, you have to survive. I'll never forget when I was incarcerated, and I was very blessed to have a supportive sister who, with her welfare check, she would send me $20 a month. And I understood that there were a lot of people that didn't get any support. And so what I had to do is make sure that with that commissary that I ordered enough to be able to share because otherwise I gotta sleep with my items. Does that make sense? And that's continuous trauma. But it also having to have that mindset, it made me a very generous person, a very giving person, right? A person that, you know, I managed my appetite that way. Okay, I just want to eat enough to be satisfied, not to be full, because I'm going to be sharing it with someone.
Because you're gonna need them to share with you later on.
Sure, sure. You have some people that are, very supported while in prison, and then you have some people that they haven't connected or spoken to their family in years. And so you have to understand when you're blessed, You're supposed to share.
My daddy said it like this. He said, with a closed hand, nothing gets in and nothing gets out.
Yep.
With an open hand, there are endless possibilities. The moral to the story is to help somebody.
Yeah, I get criticized because I volunteer a lot, but people have no idea how blessed I am. How blessed I am.
And
Like
you
I,
get by giving because he sees. He sees it. He
he
sees that
sees
you.
everything. He sees everything. It's so interesting because Catholic Charities is one of my newest partners, and because I'm just at this place in my life where everything I do, Donnie, it has to be meaningful. And so they operate Christopher's Place, and that's men in recovery. And I cannot wait because I will be doing a Ravens build a basket with the men, and I'm gonna teach them how to build creation with a Ravens theme, and their job is going to be to gift it to someone that they want forgiveness from. And like so, and Catholic Charities was trying to pay me, like, oh, we can pay you for this. I'm like, no, let me do this, because if you can tap into a man's heart and soul like that by teaching him something, he's being open to it, something fun, it's something that they like. The director I met with, she said, "Oh, we got a bunch of Ravens fans at Christopher's Place." Do you know how meaningful and fulfilling that is for me? And so, but I get so blessed.
Lisa, you make me think of this prison ministry, and I understand I may be restarting it. Matter of fact, I need to make the phone call today. But I will go to city jail and visit the 14 to 17-year-olds charged with adult crime.
Yeah.
And on 3 occasions, they came up to me on the street and said, "Thank you.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's
My
wonderful.
life is better now. I'm doing
Yes.
better now."
Yes.
There's no greater feeling
None. Nope.
for me.
No. And all of us get to a place where, we, everybody say they want money, they want to be rich. Okay, we want to be able to pay our bills and we want to be able to have some fun and all of that. But if money was the answer, people with a lot of money wouldn't be having the problems they're having, right? And so, and that's
Look at
why.
them celebrities. Look at them
Yes.
celebrities.
Oh yes. hmm
I
And
don't want
so,
to be no celebrity. They got a lot of drama. They might
yeah,
have the fame and the fortune, but something ain't right there.
I want the fortune, not the fame, because it's the fame that's the albatross around their neck. It's the race to stay relevant, right? And so I love. I saw a video of a man that he gave away all his wealth before he passed away to send underserved students, individuals to school. You know how beautiful that is? Because money is a tool. Money is designed to make somebody else better. There's no value in just buying the latest outfit, the latest car, because when you lay in your bed at night, none of that stuff matters. But what have
Or
you
if you
done for
on
your
your last,
community?
or if you're on your deathbed and you got 5 minutes left, that money don't mean nothing.
Yeah, I was talking to someone. We were talking about the same, I think the same day that Michael Jackson passed, Farrah Fawcett passed. And I remember seeing an interview with her where she told the person no amount of money or fame can remove that illness that she had. And she said that she wished, there was so much she wished she would have done that was not celebrity, that was not Hollywood, that was not, because, when you're laying, I've been in a sick bed. I know what that feels like. When I was in the hospital for my brain tumor, my doctors would come in and say, why is it that every time we come in here, you are looking through your phone and you're smiling? And I said, well, because I'm grateful of the things I got accomplished before this happened. I finished school. I started a business. I did everything I wanted to do before this happened. So if this is my time for the Lord to take me away, I'm content because I've done what I wanted to do, and your quality of life and who you are positively impacting is how you go from kicking and screaming in a hospital bed to smiling, looking at your family, your accomplishments, the people's lives that you changed.
Lisa, do you live a purpose-driven life?
Yes, and I'll just add a caveat to that. I live a purpose-driven life, but I also live an evidence-based life. People can say a lot of things, but can you show through evidence that you're changing lives? Can you show through evidence that you experienced things that caused you to want to give up, but you didn't give up? And so living a purpose-driven life is important, but living an evidence-based life is even better. I have students that don't do well in my program, and so, they look at it like but no, my program is a high accountability program. And so if you are not accountable, if you don't come to class, you don't do your work, no, you cannot move past go. You can't. And so because I live an evidence-based life, I don't care what negativity is spoken about because I have the evidence. I had a meeting a couple of days ago with my New York program. Now, as big as New York is, they are excited about one of the programs that I had. The workforce development representative, she said, please email me. Like, like it's not that she can't find what she's looking for in New York, but because I live an evidence-based life, I already got the evidence that it works. Does that make sense? And
So tell me more about this evidence-based life. Where'd you get the term from?
so
What does it mean?
So when I went to graduate school and I had to decide what destination I wanted to build a workforce training program. So in my research, I realized that workforce is an evidence-based industry. So you can, if you say that you train, you have to have trainees. If you say that you give individuals jobs, you have to have employer partners. So as I researched what was required in my craft, it almost by osmosis jumped on me. And so, it's just like if somebody say, "Oh, I'm a good woman." Okay, you should have evidence of that. Does that make sense? So just looking good does not make you a good woman. Cooking good does not. Can you be what the Bible says is a helpmate? Can you uplift, edify, and help your mate?
Some of these people wouldn't help Jesus.
Right. And so, it's so funny. I remember telling my husband recently, you married someone that does not give up easy. I don't give up easy. Something could be crumbling at its core, and I'll be researching who I can get to help me to build it back up because I don't give up on things easy.
And you're a problem solver.
Yes. And so
I've called, how many times have I called you and put somebody on the phone because, especially a young person, because they say they want to work. I say, all right, hold tight. You say you serious.
Right.
I'm getting ready to call somebody, and she gonna find out real quick if you mean what you say. And that's where, again, happy heavenly birthday to my dad. He said, your word is all you got.
That's all you got.
Especially as a black man in America, you better honor your word.
Yes.
So when
Yes.
you say something, they know you mean it.
Exactly. And one of the things I tell my students is that if you're not authentic and if you are only full of words but not action, the universe has a way of shutting you down. The universe. And so, you know, time will tell if what you're doing is real or not. Celebrate Us turns 10 years old in December. In order to be around 10 years old, you know, you have to have have built an evidence-based program. And I tell students also, in order for you to do business in other states, you can't just show up in that state and start working. No, it doesn't work like that. You have to be given permission by the federal government because your home state takes care of you, but you fall immediately under the guides of the federal government once you travel state to state. And so that's why I don't get discouraged when people say disparaging things about my program because I know that I would not be allowed to move state to state if I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do.
Lisa, you say you had some opportunities for people coming home.
Yes, yes. So there is a whole beautiful workforce incarcerated, right? Like it's a whole workforce, people with
We talk.
skills and
Okay.
experience and with knowledge. And so what I do is I enhance that. So I told my students on last Monday, if you worked at a warehouse, that's beautiful. Don't dismiss that. Here's the ladder to warehousing. You can become a logistics analyst. You can become a supply chain professional. You can become, so the ladder is really long where you could get into the six-figure club quickly, starting with warehousing. So
I got
anybody
I
that
got a friend
you already
who
have
does.
experience in something and you don't come to me if you're only looking for a job because you can get a job on your own without my help. Come to me if you're looking to change your life through economic development. You want to enhance the landscape of economically of your family. Those are the only people I want to hear from. I don't want to hear from people that say, I'll take anything. No, because I don't have just anything, you know. And so it's easy to feel that way because you're focusing on your lack instead of focusing on your potential.
So what opportunities might be available right now? So what opportunities might be? You can't hear me? Lisa, can you hear me?
I can't hear you, Donnie.
I don't know. Jobs. What jobs? I think maybe they knocked her audio off. I'm gonna have I don't know how this is gonna work. Maybe she'll chime back in. But this has been a very powerful conversation when we're talking about people who are formerly incarcerated. A guy I grew up with just came home after 42 years incarcerated, and he started his own business. One of the people I'm trying to get on the show is Brother Tyrell Muhammad in New York City. He came home and built a security company which had over 200 employees. Just because a person is incarcerated does not mean they can't come back to these streets and succeed. It doesn't mean that. I think we can do anything we put our minds to. And earlier when I said about the young man I saw riding up the avenue, popping a wheelie on a dirt bike, navigating traffic with one hand. Yeah, I do think I personally think college is for everybody, because wherever you go, you got to learn. And for me, you know, especially when I was a young man, well, that's where all the girls were. That's exactly where I want to be. I don't want to be in a prison with all men. But these are choices. These are decisions. It's interesting. By the age of 8, the government knows where a young person is headed. If they're headed to the right, or if they're headed to the left. And they build prisons based on these early assessments of 8-year-olds, of 7-year-olds. It is no secret that mass incarceration has wreaked havoc on our society, on the Black community in particular. If we have a 70% single mother household, and we have of the world's population, 25% of the world's inmates, and 40% of those incarcerated persons are Black men alone, Black women being the fastest growing demographic, it is all too important to understand why we have to reach our young people. I think it was Frederick Douglass who said it's better to build a strong youth than to repair a broken adult. Nonetheless, people coming home every day, whether it's from Patuxent Institute for the Criminal Insane, Hagerstown, wherever, diagnostics. But quite often people are coming home and they need therapy. They need a debriefing. It's been stated on this very show that there's not enough resources put into mental health. If I think better, I can do better. Going to prison was never an option for me. And by the grace of God, I didn't go there because I was racing and running these streets like other kids in my neighborhood. But thank God I didn't make any tragic mistakes. Death is permanent. It is no, I'm sorry. No, you're going to get locked up and you're going to do some serious time. So it looks like Lisa is not coming back, but if you want to come on this show, if you are working in mental health, please just email me, Donnie@bmorenews.com. I'm going to put my email address in the comments. But we are all about trying to make a difference in our community. Nobody's going to fix our community for us but us. And so we might as well all just pitch in and make it happen. So if you want to come on this show, if you have a topic that's of significance, there you go. That's my email address. Lisa Pierce's number. Let me put that up there too. If you're looking for employment opportunities, training programs, one of her training programs that I absolutely adore is the surgical tech program. I'm not sure if she still has it, but that's a very special program. So here's Lisa Pierce's number if you're looking to either get an employment opportunity or if you're looking to help someone who is coming home from behind the walls. And again, helping people who are behind the walls is important to me because quite often we star in the prison movie. 13% of the population, but Black men alone make up 40% of America's incarcerated people. Black men, Black man. And the Black woman is the fastest growing demographic. We 13% of the population, yet we half of the prisons. What's wrong with that? Is it by design? I mean, I'm not a conspiracy theorist per se, but common sense is common sense. Prisons are big money. Out in California, it's my understanding if you have the money, you can rent a cell, you know, bigger than the average cell. You got room. You got a suite almost. You're just incarcerated. I don't know. I know we're going to keep on doing the show and we're going to keep on bringing you guests like Lisa Pierce. What happened to her number? We'll try it again. Lisa Pierce is all about helping people. We're also going to bring on Moses Hammett. Moses used to work for Joe Jones over there at the Center for Urban Families, and he went on to start his own broadcast, his own employment program. Oh, this thing is not letting me load. I don't know what the deal is. Can't post comments the same to some destinations. Well, if you're looking for Lisa's number, take a pen and I'll give you the number. It's 667-303-7018. Lisa Pierce, Pierce, 667-303-7018. I encourage you to tune in with us on Monday next week. We'll be talking with Annette Greer March from Roberta's House, talking about grief. We'll also be talking with our resident mental health expert, Natasha Pierre. She's down in Florida. She's the one who was supposed to be on today's show, but she was dealing with two people who committed suicide. Now, if you look at Natasha, it's very fathomable to understand that she is a former television, former actress, former model, ran the runways in New York. But today, she is all about mental health. She is 10 toes down about it. And then last, we're going to have on Friday, Morgan State University's own Dr. DeAndre Poole. Dr. Poole is an expert on dealing with mental health and our young people, our young adults who are away at college, in this case, Morgan State University. So they come from all up and down the East Coast and beyond. But it's nothing to see a cat at Morgan from Florida, from the Carolinas. And one can imagine that can be traumatic, frightening, scary. You're away from home. You're living on your own for the first time, dealing with people. So keep watching this show. New Life Recovery Show presented to you by New Life Recovery Center. They focus on alcohol addiction, drug addiction, gambling addiction, and if you name the addiction and they don't have it, I bet you for sure that Ven McCormick will find a solution to your problem. It's truly been a pleasure. This week has gone by like a snap. We have to practice self-love. We have to love ourselves no matter what is going on, no matter who comes into our life, who leaves our life, what job we have, what job we lost, whatever the case. May we all get better at dealing with ourselves and loving ourselves, treating ourselves. Some of us are busy over there treating these other people, and we haven't taken care of ourselves, and that's just not smart. Common sense is everything. Book sense without common sense is nonsense. How you like that one? Book sense minus common sense equals nonsense. So may we all become better people. My name's Donnie Glover. Again, special thank you to Ven McCormick, 240-253-3663. He offers treatment on demand, and we're very grateful for him. He's a big sponsor and supporter of the BlackUSA.News Network, as well as BeMoreNews.com. The news before the news, where we uncover the truth. When we find a man who has ascended heights beyond ourselves, who has a broader range of vision than we, a sky with more stars in it than we have in ours, we may know that he worked harder, better, more wiser than we. He was busy while we were idle. He was working while we were asleep. He was wisely improving his talents while we were wasting ours. My name's Donnie Glover, and we'll be back Monday at 12 noon. Have a very safe weekend. If you need to talk to somebody, I'll just put my phone number out there, 443-858-2684. I got a nice phone book. I can direct you to some resources. I think the big thing is just be calm. Don't get too upset. You know, and a prayer for our children, a prayer for the teachers and all of the people in the schools, a prayer for our adult children, a prayer of thanks, a prayer of thanksgiving. Thank you, Lord, for all that you do for us. Without you, we are nothing. Good afternoon, world.